The Diddy case has hit an oddity. The Diddy case has hit an oddity. There are some discrepancies, some problems that the court sees. Well, these his lawyers have seen. And what we're going to talk about is his new problems that have arisen. I don't know if it's necessarily problems for him. They might be problems for the actual prosecutor. In an odd turn of events, if you hadn't heard that he had this, that he had said no to the plea deal. We're not taking the plea deal. And also since then, he's also had a whole new way of defending himself by saying, I was incoherent. There was no way I could know what I was doing. I don't know about that particular line of thought process. However, that's what he's picking. The problem is that we have also hit another buzzsaw that could be detrimental to the prosecution. The thing we're talking about is the lack of credibility on the part of the prosecution to provide why is it that Diddy is the only one being charged. If you say there's racketeering and all this stuff, how come other co-conspirators are not being charged or brought into the case? How come Diddy was the only one arrested? This is what Mr. Weissman has said out loud. I'm going to read for you his statement. Notably, despite the fact the government alleges a 20-year criminal RICO conspiracy, only Combs is charged in the indictment. RICO charges are most famously brought in organized crime cases, but are also seen in other types of cases, such as white-collar cases involving corporate fraud. In these types of cases, charges will frequently be brought against alleged co-conspirators. The problem is that hasn't happened in the Diddy case. What does that mean for Diddy? Well, I'm no lawyer, but I spoke to one who's pretty close to a lawyer. I think that's just me. Nobody listening, nobody in the room. I can say this out loud. I think this is what I think. I think Corey should become a lawyer, but not just any lawyer, like litigation. I'll leave that there. Y'all can tell me what you think. But I'll come back in now. Broken the fourth wall. Let's come back and have a discussion again. So I spoke to somebody who's really good at stuff. And we are coming to the consensus that possibly, maybe, quite possibly, he could beat this thing.
Training athletes, building leaders, changing communities. At Mentors for Life, sponsored by the Bully Me Bad Project, we provide free professional sports training and mentorship to youth with passion, drive, and the desire to grow. We connect them with top-tier coaching and leadership tools that unlock their full potential. Our athletes train with elite professionals like Coach Cedric Moody of CM3, who's worked with NBA players such as Jaden Ivey and Blake Wesley, and the dynamic team of Tevin Lake and Bobo from T2 Sports Performance. Together, they've trained standout athletes including Notre Dame football stars, NFL offensive lineman Danny Piner, and Kyron Williams. In a school or neighborhood of 1,000 youth, 5 redirected lives can mean 5 future leaders, 5 families spared heartbreak, and 5 powerful stories of hope. And this is backed by research from the Money Smart Athlete Foundation, which shows that athletes have a powerful influence on youth behavior, confidence, and long-term success. We don't just build athletes, we build mentors. High school students who complete our program will become certified Mentors for Life members and will be paid to speak, lead, and coach the next generation. To support Mentors for Life, all you have to do is click here if you're on a mobile device, or click here if you're on a computer to donate or learn more. Or you can reach us directly at mentorsforlife574@gmail.com. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Mentors for Life. Donate today and help save our youth.
There's a 50-50 chance that he could beat this case because there are a ton of things that the lawyers can bring up and say, why this, why the other. And they're not just, randomized whys. These are some pretty big whys, especially like this one. You're accusing my client of a very big deal, but the big deal usually involves multiple people to happen. And you have not asked anyone else to, or if you have, you haven't told us. Now, suppose the other people have said, that are part of the whole RICO charges have already made their sweetheart deals and they are remaining anonymous because they're protected. Then Diddy's in trouble. However, if they have nobody else, then the prosecution might be in trouble. Because you also have to prove to us that Diddy has to be one really good, really, really good criminal to handle all these racketeering things by himself. But he's already been on film talking about how he had other people do his stuff for him and he doesn't do everything for himself. So they have to make a choice here. This is what else he said. It is likely that some of these individuals have been or will be cooperating with the government. It is not certain, he said. There have been no known guilty pleas, and it is not known whether any of the individuals have been or will be charged. This is a big deal because we've said before that there are multiple ways that Diddy could avoid jail time. It might be very slim, but there are ways for him to avoid jail time. One, if what had happened to him could be proven as targeting. Two, if they don't have the proof they say they have. Three, if the proof they say they have isn't really proof and they can't really incriminate him based on what he has. And now this one would be another caveat to it, meaning you are trying to make my client the only one responsible and everybody else seems to be absolved of all responsibility. That doesn't seem very fair in a RICO racketeering kind of situation when you're trying to tell me that the corporation, especially if you're going to put it on the Bad Boy Records, multiple people would have to be involved, not just Sean Puffy Combs. Now, what would happen if this case not only falls through for the prosecution, but becomes a actual counter lawsuit? If he happens to beat this, I can easily see Sean turning around and say, oh, y'all gonna try and get me? Now I'm gonna get you back. So what if the second portion of this idea is true? What if that there is a marked thing going after Sean Combs and they're trying to target him and him alone? There are two things they really can't do to him, okay? They really can't Epstein him. And here's why they can't Epstein him. And he has this in his corner, and people might think this is just stupid of a concept. However, think about today's climate and you tell me if I'm wrong. He cannot be Epstein for one very important thing that cannot be changed, and that's his race. Now, imagine this. You have a mogul who has maintained his innocence the entire time. You have him in prison or jail, wherever they have him. Custody. They have him in custody. He's saying he didn't do it. You keep bringing these things and can't prove it, and all of a sudden the man turns up, gone, while in there. Do you know the amount of extreme backlash that would happen because of that? It wouldn't be like, oh, we're glad that he's gone. No. The extremist on the other side would take this as an opportunity to do all kinds of nefarious stuff. So they can't afford that. The other option they have is to make a quiet deal on the side and have it all just go away. No plea deal, but if we are wrong, we're going to make you a deal to make you not countersue us, and it just goes away, and you never hear from the government about it, and you never hear from Diddy about it. Or the other option, it goes straight to court. It happens to be that Diddy is right. He didn't do anything. And now his counter lawsuit to the government could shut down multiple agencies that target certain people in the private sector. All three of those options have some very far-reaching implications when it comes to us as people that live here in America. Why? Because it would set a precedent. Anyone that could become famous could actually be going through the same thing and plead that the government's going after them, targeting them. And the amount of stuff that could come out of it could shut down more things. Or there could be people who definitely are guilty that use the same defense and get away with stuff. You see, so there's a double-edged sword that's about to be either struck down or pulled out of the rock. This is an interesting case, to say the least, especially this topic that Mr. Wiseman brought up, that there are no other people mentioned in this particular thing. And he was the only one arrested, considering that you're telling me that multiple people in multiple cases that have already brought against Diddy have been mentioned. Cuba Gooding's been mentioned, right? There have been a couple other rappers have been mentioned, and they're not arrested, just Diddy. So either you're admitting one of two things, that those people have either made a deal or they're not guilty, or you refuse to go after them because you're targeting Sean. We've said that he has enough stuff to go after him for. Plenty. You can say that he's not a good moral character, understand that. But we've also said this, you can't just add stuff on him just because you don't like him. He may not be guilty of the stuff that you want him badly to be guilty of. It could just be that he's just a perv and he likes to have orgies, okay? But that doesn't mean that necessarily he is the kind of person that goes after and drugs people. He may have. Understand the visuals of him and Justin Bieber, fully understand that. And like I said, Justin Bieber is the only one who can bring any cases against him if he wants to. He hasn't done that yet. Usher, no cases there either. So for all intents and purposes, it's just our speculation. So if that be the case, you could see Puffy get away with what he's been doing, good, bad, or indifferent. It could be that the case could be dropped. It could result in a mistrial, or just straight up, he ain't guilty. And the ensuing cases after that, based on the same premises, could face the same amount of scrutiny and end up with the same result. We'll be keeping an eye on this one for a show because the case is about to kick off. I think it's less than a month away. And if that's the case, then the prosecution has some decisions to make based on what questions the defense is asking. Are they going to get the answer? Highly doubtful. It probably won't come out until they're in the cross addressing of each body. It might not come out till then. We'll see. But don't be surprised, though. We'll make our prediction now. He could easily get off scot-free from this charge. Easily. Considering what we've seen, what discrepancies and the inaccuracies in certain things, it only takes one really big mistake to screw this case up for the government. One, just one. And it will set a precedent for all other people going forward. Whatever your thoughts are, please leave them in the comment section below, because we really look forward to this one. This debate should be good. Is Diddy guilty? 2, if he's not guilty, should he be released post haste? And if the government is targeting him, should they be the topic of the next lawsuit? We look forward to reading your comments.
Training athletes, build leaders, changing communities. At Mentors for Life, sponsored by the Bully Me Bad Project, we provide free professional sports training and mentorship to youth with passion, drive, and the desire to grow. We connect them with top-tier coaching and leadership tools that unlock their full potential. Our athletes train with elite professionals like Coach Cedric Booty of CM3, who's worked with NBA players such as Jaden Ivey and Blake Wesley, and the dynamic team of Tevin Lake and Bobo from T2 Sports Performance. Together, they've trained standout athletes including Notre Dame football stars, NFL offensive lineman Danny Piner, and Kyron Williams. In a school or neighborhood of 1,000 youth, 5 redirected lives can mean 5 future leaders, 5 families spared heartbreak, and 5 powerful stories of hope. And this is backed by research from the Money Smart Athlete Foundation, which shows that athletes have a powerful influence on youth behavior, confidence, and long-term success. We don't just build athletes, we build mentors. High school students who complete our program will become certified Mentors for Life members and will be paid to speak, lead, and coach the next generation. To support Mentors for Life, all you have to do is click here if you're on a mobile device, or click here if you're on a computer to donate or learn more. Or you can reach us directly at mentorsforlife574@gmail.com. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Mentors for Life. Donate today and help save our youth.